Yes, because that's a smart thing to do. Kill someone who is clearly traumatized and has done nothing to deserve death. Brilliant idea. Bravo.
Whoever said that, I applaud you for your sarcastic remarks. Thank you. I like you already.
War deep within. I can't go through it alone, and I won't leave you on your own. I stand before you now and promise you I am not afraid. I will fight and guide the way. We will rise again to glory then, soar into the sky. If you stop and see, then you just might believe.
Sup guys, the name's Rena Dragnell and welcome back to Seduce Me 2, the Demon War. So last we left off, we've been having a lot of nightmares, but Damien's been there to comfort us and gives us hugs, and we had such fun times. Nudge nudge, wink wink. Anyways, it looks like it's the day of our wedding, so let's continue. Oh, as I mentioned, since this game is longer than Seduce Me the Otome, I figured that I would keep my recordings longer for this, just so we could just do this fast, you know, get all the routes done fast, you know, since it's very long. Also, I'm really sorry about the quality of the recording. I don't know why it's like this. I was trying to fix it, but it turned out to be shit, and I really can't find any other apps, so I'm very sorry that you have to depend on my voice for most things. I'm so sorry. You have to depend on it for the other games as well. I can't stress apologizing enough. It just kind of aggravates me, but I can't really find any other good apps, to be honest, for this Windows 10 that I'm using. So, let's just keep going. The one thing that made it special was that I was marrying. I stopped myself. Damien wasn't a demon. He was a human. You got that right.
Aren't you so proud of yourself?
Diana, what the fuck are you doing here? You're supposed to be long gone. Get the fuck out of here. Huh? I looked around, suddenly hearing Diana's voice in the air. Just hearing her ask that one question filled the air with dark and menacing tension. However, it was impossible. How is she here? Diana, where are you?
You didn't answer my question.
I want to know where the fuck you are first. Why should I? Show yourself. Oh my god. Is that her in her succubus form? Kinda looks like it. As I looked at the mirror, I gasped. Instead of my reflection, I saw a dark shadow with cold eyes staring at me. I would know those cruel eyes anywhere. Diana.
How does it feel to be inches away from marrying the man of your dreams?
Why should I tell you anything? Why are you here?
A frisky bridezilla, aren't you?
Shut up. Answer me.
Tell me first, how do you feel now that Damien's no longer who he was?
I am fine. He's human. He's happy. Okay? His happiness comes before mine. What?
Remember, he was born a demon, and you took that away from him. Well, I did anyway, at your request, of course.
He wanted to be human. This was insane. Why was I arguing with her when she was just a shadow in the mirror? Diana let out a dark laugh.
You don't even know who you're marrying, do you? Damien, The human who was a demon. What's next? Will he demand to be a woman instead? He could easily be one. Oh, wait. He can't because he no longer has the ability to do so himself.
He can turn to a succubus if he wanted to, incubi to succubi, and then vice versa. Oh, Jesus. Why do you care? He can do what he wants.
But do you even know what he wants? I want to go to the human world. I want to be human. Tell me, can you give him everything he wants? I want my mother back. I want to forget that I was ever a demon. I want to forget I was even born.
Can you shut up, please? Stop it! Oh, I couldn't take it any longer. I grabbed the lamp on my nightstand and lifted it, ready to smash the mirror to pieces. However, as I looked back at the mirror, it only showed my reflection. Diana was gone.
I knew it. I knew it. That girl has demon magic.
What the fuck? What the?
Then quit talking and let's take her.
The Demon Lord will be so pleased.
I don't know. I'm not going to the deep. You are just. Who the hell are you guys anyway? Get out of my house, please. I don't want to be with the Demon Lord. Who? Before I could turn to search for the voices, I felt hands grab hold of my feet, and I looked down and lifted my dress. 2 pairs of evil-looking hands had taken hold of my ankles, reaching through a dark red and purple pentagram. I shrieked, trying to pull my legs away, but couldn't stop them as they swiftly pulled me into the ground. No! No! I was pulled deeper into the darkness. I was no longer in my room. I was being dragged through a dark void, one that I couldn't escape. I reached out and clawed at the dark, trying to find something to grab onto. I tried to pull my legs away from the hands that were holding them, but couldn't pull free. What was going on? Why was this happening? Someone help me! As if someone had heard my screams, I suddenly felt the hands let go and disappear, leaving me to float in the darkness they left me in. I shut my eyes. Please let this be a dream. Please let this be a dream. I finally felt a surface under my feet, and I collapsed onto it, my body curling in on itself from the experience I had. I didn't dare tear my eyes away from my lap, not ready to get up just yet. The voice I heard, however, made my heart stop.
You! What are you doing here?
Is that Diana? I looked up, finally having the courage to take in my surroundings. My heart stopped beating for a moment, seizing in my chest. Whoa! Whoa! That looks like Diana. The rest I don't know. Whoa! Okay, I do know that, but I'm not going to say anything. I looked up to see 5 figures. Strangers. Monsters. Beings that I didn't recognize. They all looked down at me in surprise, as if I had dropped in at a very bad time. One man looked like an orc from a fantasy game without the tusks. He had broken horns and a very frightening aura around him as he stared at me. The other male was lanky in comparison, more human-like, but I could almost feel power emanating from him regardless. One of the women who was staring at me had rabbit ears. Rabbit ears. They twitched on top of her head as she looked at me and gripped her staff. She seemed harmless, yet she had animal ears. The one creature I couldn't discern the sex of seemed more excited to see me than surprised. What freaked me out about them was that they had wings sticking out of from their back, and they were floating. Are they a fairy? A fairy? The last woman, however, set off alarm bells in my head as I looked at her surprised face, her hair, her eyes. Diana? As she stared, the woman turned her body towards me in recognition to the name I called her. It was her.
What are you doing here?
I was pulled here against my will. Thank you for asking. Anyway, weren't you the person earlier who was talking shit about Damien not knowing what Damien wants? Wow, I'm fumbling with my words. Yeah, you were talking shit smack just now, just a few moments ago. What the hell? Diana walked towards me and stared down at me. It was odd. She didn't look like a human, yet I wasn't afraid of her demon form as it towered over me. I was more in shock as to what was going on. Before Diana could speak further, most likely to repeat herself, a figure quickly stepped up and bowed to her, kneeling beside me. Ooh, he looks kinda cool. Kinda cute too.
My lady, please forgive me. I felt something moving between our worlds and assumed the Demon Lord was to blame, so I intercepted his summoning of this human.
You saved my life. Thank you, stranger. Thank you so much. You saved me from being with the Demon Lord.
You? So I wasn't the only one who felt the change in the air.
Diana stared at the man kneeling beside me as I kept my eyes up at her. As she turned her gaze back to me, I gulped silently. What was she going to do with me? This all felt wrong. I was about to be married. I was about to live my happily ever after with the man I loved. Now I was in a place I didn't know with Diana and a bunch of other creatures I didn't recognize. My instinct was to attack. Nah, let's not. Stay still. Cry. Scream. Scream. I think we're just gonna stay still. I couldn't move. My mind was empty of emotions, except for fear. Why was this happening? Where was I? Why was Diana here? Well, if I were in this situation, I'd probably like kind of have like a little panic attack or something, or I'd start crying or something, but that's just me, being a little baby. Diana stared down at me before sighing and kneeling down to my level. As she settled onto her knees, I leaned away from her, unsure of what she'd do. Was she going to kiss me again and take my energy? Knowing her, maybe.
Can you tell me what happened?
I didn't want to speak. I felt no courage to. My mind was so wrapped around this chaos that I felt nothing but fear and anxiousness. This couldn't have been happening. I was dreaming.
Is she okay?
I don't think so.
This is a waste of our time. Just kill her or something.
I'm assuming that the orc is talking here. And to that, I say, fuck you, mister.
Yes, because that's a smart thing to do. Kill someone who is clearly traumatized and has done nothing to deserve death. Brilliant idea. Bravo.
Whoever said that, I applaud you for your sarcastic remarks. Thank you. I like you already. I just love you already right now for that sarcastic remark. Thank you. Thank you for that. Diana continued to stare at me, waiting for me to answer. Why? She didn't cast a spell on me, nor did she attack me. She continued to wait and stare. Slowly, my mind began to sink into the situation. Diana was willing to listen. Was she willing to help? That was another question, but first I had to answer her. My voice didn't want to answer still, so I forced myself to nod, wanting to answer her somehow. Diana smiled softly, which conflicted with my memories of her. She never smiled like that, yet she was now. She doesn't look like she's smiling. She looks like she has a face of concern and sadness. Diana held out her hand, ushering me to take it.
Can you stand?
I nodded again and took her hand, standing up at last. I looked around at the other beings in the room. They all kept their gaze to me, unsure of what I would do or say. Diana, however, led the conversation.
First, can you tell me what happened to you?
I took a breath, recounting everything that had happened. I was about to go to the church to be married, and then I was attacked by this darkness. A couple of hands grabbed my legs and pulled me into it, and then I fell here.
A shadow summoning?
Diana turned to one of the beings, the lanky male, and glared.
One of yours couldn't have.
On my honor, it wasn't any of mine. We have nothing to gain from kidnapping a human. Nor do we know who this woman is, anyhow.
Is this the guy who made the sarcastic remark? Cause I'm already in love with you. Cause look at your appearance and the way you said that sarcastic remark to that dude. I applaud you. I already like you. I already took a liking to you.
My lady, if I may, I clearly remember hearing imp demons in the void along with her. It must have been the Demon Lord's henchmen.
Those damnable creatures. That explains it.
Diana crossed her arms and looked to me again.
Well, dear, it seems that you were to be either a new harem girl for the Demon Lord to ravish, or bait for the boys to return to their father's side. Either way, I doubt you would have lived long had the Demon Lord gotten his hands on you.
I have to thank that man for saving my life because I know the Demon Lord was ruthless. A violent shiver ran up my spine. Was it true? I would have died?
Wait a minute. This girl knows about the Demon Lord's heirs?
Yes, and frankly, you shouldn't know anything about me at all.
Yes. Hilariously enough, she was set to marry one of them, as you can see from her garb.
Oh man, I forgot we were in a wedding dress. I feel weird. As Diana motioned towards my dress, I realized how vulnerable I was and felt extremely self-conscious. I wrapped my arms around myself as Diana let out a sigh.
Well, since you do not belong here, the obvious thing to do is to send you home.
You're going to send me home? Are you serious? I couldn't help but stare wide-eyed at Diana. She was really going to send me home? Really? I couldn't believe my ears. You will really send me back?
Of course. It should be easy to do once everything is in order. It'll be like you never left the human world.
At this point, I could believe anything she says right now because demons exist, vampires exist, werewolves used to exist, angels exist. I can believe that I'm in the demon world. I mean, look at her form. Look at everybody else. Look at the dude. Look at the red dude standing there too. He's like a giant brute monster. Wait. Like I never left the human world? What do you mean by left the human world? Girl, are you being serious? Are you being for real? You should at least know we're in the demon world. The abyssal planes, at least, because of everybody here. Diana stared before chuckling softly and gesturing to the room and beings within it.
Dear, do you not realize where you are? You are in the demon world.
My mind went blank. I couldn't believe. It couldn't be. I couldn't be in the demon world. No way. No way in hell. Oh, you better believe it, girl. You are in the demon world. I felt myself back up against the wall behind me, suddenly afraid. I was in another world? How? That was impossible. Diana stepped towards me, both of her hands softly trying to show me she meant no harm as she positioned them in front of her body.
Do not panic. We will send you back now, so there's nothing to worry about.
How will you power the spell? Bringing someone here is no easy task, but sending someone back consumes much more energy.
Oh dear.
I'll use what energy I have now and rest. We can organize the siege another time when I fully recover. It's not like the Demon Lord can escape the corner we've trapped him in, so we do have some time to spare.
You'd waste time and energy on this human. We must strike now while the Demon Lord is weakened.
Clearly you have no mind. You have no thinking skills at all. Yeah, I'm just gonna not.
But the human doesn't belong here. She needs to go home.
Thank you, you fairy creature thing. I can't discern your sex because I have no idea if you're a he or a she, so I'm gonna call you a fairy.
Shall I prepare the return spell?
Do. I grant you permission to use my energy to power the spell.
With a nod, the lanky man held out his hand towards the wall. I looked over in the direction it was aimed at. Diana's shadow? I watched as Diana's shadow simply stood against the wall, mirroring the movements of the real succubus in the room. Before my eyes, the shadow began to morph and expand on the wall on its own. I looked back to Diana to see her wrapping her arms around herself and curling her shoulders over as if she was in pain. Her nails embedded themselves into her forearms, and I could barely make out a painful hiss escaping her clenched teeth. Was the spell hurting her that badly? I turned back to the wall to see Diana's shadow shaking and vibrating, as if it was resisting the change the man was forcing on it.
You will obey my command. Open the gates to the void, and allow passage to the world we seek.
Transitum per renan pecto tranibus. Ubi apernit. Ianoio.
I really hope you heard what Diana said. You know what? I'm gonna just raise up the voice acting a little bit. I lowered down the stuff for you guys so you can actually hear her better, more than the sound, so I hope you can hear now. Upon Diana's final word, her shadow burst and expanded into an oval-shaped doorway. I stared wide-eyed at the passage before a hand placed itself on my shoulder, forcing me to look over. The one with the spear gently pressed my shoulder forward and looked down at me with almost a stern face.
You must leave now. The faster you leave, the quicker we can close the void.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Go! Go! Go get married!
Oh, thank you! That sounds like the fairy. Thank you, fairy. I will go and do that. I quickly nodded and lifted the bottom of my dress, stepping forward to make a run for the passageway. However, before I could bolt towards my freedom, a snarl echoed through the room.
How dare you interfere with my summoning!
Oh my god, no! No! At that very moment, Diana began to scream, arching her spine and throwing her head back. Around her body were red-tinted bolts of lightning, flashing and shocking her form.
No! Human! Use the passage! Now!
You don't have to tell me again! He didn't have to tell me twice. I bolted towards the portal, diving forward as I neared it, but I was forced back by a burst of energy and a flash of red light. I fell to the floor, almost slamming my head onto the stone. No!
A human will never, ever leave this world alive!
No! How dare you!
You spineless worm!
Close the portal! The Demon Lord might get through!
But the human...
Close it!
Oh, no! As commanded, the man pulled his hand back, visually forcing his arm back behind his body, and Diana's shadow quickly began to morph back into a simple shadow. The electricity around Diana faded away, and she began to tip forward. The man with the spear dropped his weapon and caught Diana in his arms, cradling her body to his as she panted and gasped for air.
I don't sense the Demon Lord anywhere.
The worm has to scurry through the shadows to try and fight back. He'll be dead soon enough.
How is she, guard?
Diana seemed to be looked uninjured, but her body was twitching from the aftermath of the magical attack. Her visible eye was shut tight as she dug her fingers into the guard's jacket to cling to him. As her eye opened, I saw not a blood ruby red color, but I saw a cold and unfriendly golden color painted over her iris. Her mouth opened as she panted for air, and I could see hunger in her facial expression, but she continued to stare at the wall, not wanting to make eye contact with anyone.
There are no physical wounds, but she's been weakened. I must give her my energy so she can recover.
Oh? The man swiftly moved and hooked an arm underneath Diana's knees, lifting her up bridal style as she clung to his jacket, shivering. The spear had fallen to the floor, faded into black and purple mist as he quickly left the room with her in his arms. Let's all remember that Diana is a succubus, so when he said he's gonna give her energy... Oh, I see where this is going. Oh ho ho. Okay. So, does that mean that they're gonna be a couple or something? Because I'm already shipping it. Let's keep going. I already know what happened, so I'm just... Yeah, you know what? Let me just shut up and let's continue. My mind, however, began to panic. I couldn't go home? Why was I being forced to stay? Damn the Demon Lord, this wasn't right!
There's an imp in the castle. That is the only way the Demon Lord could have been able to interfere.
Oh.
You! Guards by the door! Hunt it down!
A pair of guards that were apparently by the door saluted the one commanding them and ran off. I felt out of place, alone, terrified as to what was going to happen. The Demon Lord wanted me here, and his words pounded at my mind. How was I going to get home? Would I ever be able to go home?
Hey.
I looked up to see the winged person hovering near me before they moved and sat on their knees on the stone ground beside me.
We'll get you home, okay? Diana just needs a little rest, okay?
She needs more than rest. She needs to use a different spell to send her back. The Demon Lord will expect her to use the shadow spell again.
How about the normal way? I'm sure we can connect to a witch, or even the warlock she used before, to reopen a portal to the human world.
The warlock she used to get to the human world died, remember? And he was the most powerful warlock in the human world, practically a god himself. What other human could be used to open a portal without another human dying?
Is she talking about my grandfather? Because... God damn. Okay.
It was merely a suggestion. The faster we get this human home, the faster we can move on and finish off the Demon Lord.
Well, what are we going to do with the human now?
We can give her a room to rest in. Humans need sleep after all. Maybe by the time she wakes up, we'll think of a solution.
You are pretty smart, Fairy. You know that?
Come.
Aw, The rabbit woman. The woman in rabbit ears looked down at me and lowered her hand to me, inviting me to take it. She had a kind but concerned expression on her face, so I trusted her. I slowly took her hand and began to stand up as the fairy figure brushed off the small patches of dust that had accumulated on my dress. I couldn't do anything. I was forced to listen to the beings around me because there was nothing else I could do. Without them, I couldn't get home. My heart ached, but I had to accept my predicament.
Here, I'll bring you to the open ambassador's room. You are free to rest there for now.
Okay. What about Diana? I am a little concerned for Diana because, well, she's injured and stuff, but I already know what's going on. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. The floated person giggled softly as the woman with rabbit ears cleared her throat.
She'll be fine. She's being taken care of right now.
Why not just say she's getting fucked?
Is he saying that? Oh my god! He was thinking what I was thinking. But don't blurt it out like that, please.
And the brute strikes again with the lack of tasteful filtering between his brain and his mouth. You still have yet to prove me wrong about my expectations of you.
Yes, I already love this dude. His sarcastic remarks are, yes, they're just on point. And he's probably sassy too.
Keep testing me, assassin. I'm not afraid to rip your spine out of your body and use it as a back scratcher.
The dude's an assassin? Love him more already. Assassin, yep. And I don't think he will do exactly what he says he would do.
You can very well try, brute.
Ooh!
Ugh! Would you both knock it off?
Come, everything will be taken care of.
I do want to get out of here. Before I could protest, the woman led me out of the room and into the hall. I kept my eyes down, trying to take in more of the situation I was in. I was trapped in the demon world, and Diana was out of commission. The demon lord had plans for me, but what exactly was he aiming for? I could have been bait. I could have been revenge. I didn't know, nor could I figure it out. At least I was safe. At least I hoped I was safe. The woman led me to a room that practically screamed medieval fantasy. This room looked so nice. Everything was clean, but it still had that old age feel, as if no one had ever stepped foot into the room until that moment. I would live in this place if my room looked this way. I would never leave my room. Ever.
Rest here for now. When Diana is well again, we can discuss what to do.
Thank you. I nodded to the woman before she gently curtsied and left, closing the door behind her. I took a moment to observe my surroundings, interested in understanding the aesthetic. This was fantasy turned into reality. It was like I had gone back in time. Why though? Was the Demon Lord really that behind in times, or did magic supersede technology, and this was the result? Despite the situation I was in, which was beyond heartbreaking and terrible, my curiosity began to fester in my mind, as if I was given a golden opportunity to learn something new. However, my thoughts began to drift, and I felt myself becoming weak and dizzy, no doubt from the shock and trauma I had gone through. I stumbled towards the bed, needing to sit down and let everything settle in without passing out. As my rear hit the mattress, however, I let out a small, pleasured sigh. Holy crap, this is a comfy mattress. I want to feel that mattress now. I felt myself fall back, and my entire body simply melted into the softness beneath my body. It was like I was sleeping on a cloud. Was that possible? Demon magic may have had something to do with it, but I was certain that I was drifting into almost a blissful sleep just by lying on the blankets and mattress. Not caring that I was still in my dress, I closed my eyes and drifted to sleep. I needed the rest since Diana wouldn't be available for a while now. For a while, anyway. Darkness surrounded my mind. My dreams remained silent and hushed in the cool and calm black. No nightmares appeared and no sounds were made. I was simply resting, and that was all my body needed. I let my thoughts wander into my subconscious, thinking about what was going to happen now. What will the boys do when they realize I'm gone? What will he do? Oh, Damien, he must be worried sick about me. I imagined him finding a way through to the demon world and pulling me back to where I belonged, wrapping me in his arms and swearing never to let me go. I would be relieved and we would be married just as we planned. How unrealistic was that? I had to be realistic right now. I was stuck, and the only one who seemed to be able to send me back was Diana and her companions, whoever they were. I had to trust them, whether I liked it or not. Eventually, I did rise from my sleep, somehow fully refreshed and calm. How could that have been?
Did you have a good rest?
Oh, hi, Diana. I turned my head to see Diana at the door, arms crossed and leaning against the door's archway. She had a look of concern and pure curiosity on her face as she awaited my answer. Yes. Do you not know how to know? I'm not going to say that. I feel like I'll be rude. She's letting me stay, so I'm going to be nice. Are you okay? Yes. I'm going to ask, are you okay? Diana stared at me, slightly shocked. Did she not expect me to answer?
Well, yes, I'm fine now that I've had proper rest.
That's good. Diana shook her head and stepped into the room, closing the door behind her.
So we need to find another way to get you back to the human world. It won't be easy, but I believe it can be done by tonight at the latest.
Tonight? Really? Diana nodded and crossed her arms again, leaning on one hip.
It will take time to get our shadow agents to gather the necessary supplies, but they are not hard to obtain, being that we're in a position of power. You must be lucky.
What do you mean? Diana sighed before casting a short spell under her breath. In front of me appeared a floating map, almost like a hologram. It showed an entire world with mountains and plains and forests, and it was all surrounded by sea and water. Let's see. Can't really tell the map that well, but let's just get back. Diana pointed at a marker that had a purple banner at its tip. It was marked in the center of some mountain forest area. It was also the very center of the map.
That is where we are currently, the center of the abyssal plains.
I think... So I'm guessing that... Let me get my mouse. I'm guessing it's here, I believe? That's where we are? I could be wrong. Diana then ran her finger in a circle around the marker, showing a perimeter around it.
Everything we need for the spell is within this area. It will just take time to gather the materials and prepare it.
Okay, so it's probably like around here, I guess. Alright, sounds reasonable. I nodded, understanding the situation. I was going to hopefully be able to go home tonight, which is better than not going home at all. So, what should I do until then?
My suggestion? Stay in this room. I can mark this room as off limits so that no demon may enter that would confuse you for an intruder and kill you.
I gulped. I did not want to die. As Diana made the magical map disappear, she shrugged.
However, I cannot stop you from whatever you wish to do. Just don't leave the castle.
I nodded as she turned to leave. As she stepped out, Diana looked back to me with a reassuring look.
We'll get you back to the human world. I promise you that.
Diana's being nice. This is like... Oh, since I played through Diana's route, my feelings changed for her. So, like, I don't hate her as much. But this is making me like her more. Still have a little bit of suspicion, but still liking her. Finally, she left me alone in the room. I let out a small sigh and looked up at the ceiling. I had to wait until tonight to actually do anything. What was I going to do? A part of me agreed with Diana's suggestion, wanting to stay in the room and be safe in case the guards didn't know who I was and would kill me on sight. My curiosity, however, wouldn't leave me alone and wanted me to explore the castle. I was handed an opportunity to explore a castle in the demon world, a part of me did not want it to go to waste. I was torn on what to do. Let's explore! Because why not? There was no way I was letting this chance pass me by. I stood and walked towards the door, opening it a crack and looking around. There was no one in the hall, but there were two directions to go. Which way? Okay, so I wanted to save just in case, so let's go left. I went with left. I closed the door behind me as I exited my room and began to make my way down the left corridor. Everything was definitely medieval style, and I felt a bit small in the hall. It was like I was in a fairy tale, walking around in a wedding dress. It felt almost dreamlike. The passage seemed long, decorated with wall candles, paintings, and random curtains and flowers. It was mystical to see, and I smiled. As I approached another fork in the hall, however, I sighed. Really? How does anyone find their way around? I looked back, knowing I hadn't walked far from my room. I could turn back. Yet. Nah, we're gonna keep going left. I was heading left. Anyway, might as well make another left. I turned left once more and headed down the hall, greeted by more fantastical decor. The sound of a heated battle caught my attention. I quickly rushed over to see a door, barely open a crack, and behind it echoed the sound of clashing swords. Oh wow, that was fast. Sarah and Diana! Whoops, I totally didn't mean to. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, I know him. Happy now? I peeked in to see Diana and the guard that was with her before an intense sword fight. Now I could take a closer look. The man was extremely handsome and looked human, yet I could sense that he was very much a demon just from his presence alone. The man had the upper hand, but it was easy to tell that he was holding back slightly by letting Diana swing her sword again and again at him, before attacking her and forcing her to defend. The look on Diana's face showed pure concentration and almost anger at her sword clashing with his. I had never seen Diana this intense before, so to see stress and determination written across her expression was a surprise. Why was she fighting with a sword, though? She had demon magic.
You're holding back. Enough!
Diana jumped back from the man, bringing her sword to her side as the man did the same in perfect sync. She growled before tossing the weapon to him, and he caught it by the hilt with ease.
I told you not to hold back. Didn't you hear me?
The man stared at Diana before gently bringing the swords together and making them vanish into a soft black mist. He began to walk towards her as she turned around and crossed her arms.
You can't treat me as if you are training a child, Sarah. I need to be ready for whatever the demon lord throws my way, and you holding back is only a hindrance to me.
She kind of does have a point. You shouldn't hold back.
I apologize, my lady.
Empty words.
It clicked. They were training. This man was her trainer, and she was being treated like a novice. Why? Also, he did apologize. Why was she being so harsh about it? Maybe it was a mistake? Diana let out a sigh and walked to the balcony of the room, laying her hands on the railing and leaning over her arms.
As each day goes by, my kingdom, my army, and I are constantly at risk. If I cannot defend myself when my energy runs out, then how will I defend this kingdom?
You will be victorious.
I will be slaughtered because of your inability to train me properly.
I don't know what to say. I'm just gonna keep going.
You know why I cannot, and yet you still demand it of me. I cannot bring myself to even potentially harm you.
Aww. Oh, look, the name even came up, even though we don't know his name, unless Diana mentioned it. I don't think she mentioned it. I wasn't paying attention. Wow. Okay. So yeah, you all know his name is Seto. Seto.
And that will lead to my death.
What? What was Seto talking about? Why couldn't he train her properly? Why was she so... Oh my god. I feel like I'm not reading. Why was she so peeved about it? Couldn't she just get another trainer? It looked like they have ties together.
You will not die, my lady. I promise you that.
I cannot trust anyone who says that to me.
But you know that it's true. I will repeat my promise over and over to you until you accept it.
Aww.
That promise comes out of a lie.
He's going near her. I watched as Sarah walked over to Diana and gently wrapped his arms around her from behind. Aw, she didn't resist, but she didn't lean into the embrace either. Come on, man, he's giving you affection.
My love for you is not a lie, Azair.
He loves her. I knew it. I called it. Okay. Well, I already knew about this, but anyway.
You do not have permission to use my name.
Oh, that was her true name. Izayud. Izayud, I think that's how you pronounce it.
You are avoiding the subject. My feelings for you are real.
Your feelings are false.
No, they're not!
They are as pure and true as your golden heart.
I could not believe what I was seeing. Diana had an admirer? When did this become a thing? Who even was this guy to her? Why was she so against him and his love?
You will defeat the Demon Lord and bring freedom to the Abyssal Plains. You will rise and become the land's new queen and sovereign, and I will stand beside you forevermore because I love you.
Screaming!
Deny my love all you may. I have served you and your family my entire life. I could never lie or hurt you. If you truly cannot love me back, then I will remain as your humble protector and servant till the end of my days.
Aw, so he was like a knight for her and her parents.
You waste your life on me.
It is not a waste to serve and protect the woman I love with my life.
Aw.
You waste your love on me.
It's not a waste to love such a wonderful woman.
Ah, this guy is so smooth. I didn't know what to make of this. Sarah really seemed dedicated to Diana. Yeah, she was putting up some sort of emotional wall between them and that he couldn't break through. It was sad to watch, yet from the posture Diana held, I could tell that she felt her actions were justified. Maybe she was trying to protect him from her. Maybe she didn't want to hurt him. I had seen firsthand what she could do. If you had something she needed, this must be how she acted when something needed her. Oh my god, the picture. What is happening? Diana gently sighed. To his and my surprise, Diana turned her body slightly to Seto in his arms and ran her hand over Seto's chest, making his uniform top vanish into purple mist and leaving his chest bare. What was Diana doing? What is she doing?
I need energy.
Oh. Okay.
From me, or do you wish me to?
Just give me your energy. I have no time to wait for you to get me a sweet flower.
Oh my god. Seto nodded before gently turning Diana fully to him in his arms and kissing her. For some reason, it may have looked like a normal kiss, but I could feel the love and passion that ran through it. It was almost magical to watch. Jeez. One thing was for certain, however, he really did love her. The way he held her painted his feelings like a picture, so openly, gentle, and loving. Did she love him, though? She simply had one hand holding one of his arms, while another rested against Seto's back. Diana's feelings were an enigma. I quickly took that moment to leave, not wanting to disturb them and not wanting to see their moment go any farther than that kiss. Thank God. I remained in my room until the night came. I was given food, which looked like soup. The woman who gave it to me apologized, letting me know that food was scarce until the upcoming harvest, which was a couple of days away. Being that I was only staying the day, I didn't mind much. I was more concerned over what I was given to eat. It looks like curry, something like that. Looks like some kind of curry or stew or something. It was some sort of stew with mysterious chunks swimming in its broth. See, I was right, sort of. It smelled surprisingly good, but who knew how it tasted? It's stew, though. I love stew, but I don't know. I'm gonna refuse it. No way, no how. I was not in the mood to try out new things after what I had been through, and this was not something I wanted to try after all. A knock rapped on my door, breaking me out of my train of thought. Huh? Come in! The door opened to reveal Diana with a plate holding things I recognized, bread and cheese. Ooh! I let out a heavy sigh of relief before Diana laughed.
I suggest not trying that. As good as it smells, the taste would not sit well with you.
Oh, thank God I did not try that. It probably wasn't good to eat anyway. Instantly, I moved the bowl to the nearby table, thankful that I did not have to try it. Diana handed me the plate and nodded, reassuring me that what was on it was indeed what it seemed.
It's not much, but it's human food. Eat up.
Aw, thanks, Diana. I was about to call her Di. What? I will. I began to chow down, feeling the hunger in my stomach dissipate with each bite and swallow. The food I was eating, surprisingly, was delicious. As I began to crave something to drink, Diana chuckled and formed a small goblet in her hand, filled with clear liquid that I assumed to be water. I took it and drank it down, feeling my thirst quenched before I let out a sigh. I feel so much better. Food is always good, and no matter what time of day.
I can tell. Take a moment to finish eating, then we'll head for the ritual.
I looked up at Diana, suddenly excited. Everything was prepared for? Was it possible to go home now? As if she read my mind, she smiled and nodded.
We finished the main preparations. We just need to head over and we'll start.
I couldn't continue eating. My mind went into an obsessive frenzy of wanting to go home. I stood up, moving my plate and goblet to the nearby table. Let's go.
Huh? Are you sure?
I'm not going to repeat myself. I am ready. I nodded, not wanting to waste any more time. I needed to go home, and I was tired of waiting. Diana stared before nodding and heading for the door, opening it for me and exiting after me. As she closed the door behind her, I began to feel my heart flutter in relieved joy. I was heading home. Yay! Diana led me down the corridors to the war room, where I had originally arrived, to reveal the table covered in plants and artifacts of different kinds. None of it made sense to me, but I had to only assume it was what was needed for the spell to work. Diana walked to the table and took note of what she saw, nodding.
This should work.
You're in doubt?
Have to be after the last time we tried sending her home. Do we have a human anchor?
No, you're on your own this time. But we'll make sure you survive casting it.
This spell should work, however, because we'll be using energy material. It will only require a slice of your energy on top of these items, which your guard can refill immediately after this.
Ooh!
Just make sure you don't die casting it.
Diana smiled at her guard before turning to me.
So, are you ready to return home?
Of course I am! She didn't have to ask. I'm ready. Diana nodded once more before turning back to the table. She lifted her arms over the surface and lowered her head, muttering under her breath.
O tenebris portas, apriat nobis, largiatur exidium, desiderium.
As she spoke, the table began to glow as it did she. A dark purple aura began to surround her form as she lifted and arched her head back, staring at the ceiling. A glimpse at her eyes made me gasp. Warm golden oaks covered her blood-red irises, glowing with magic. She was deep within the spell, and I could see it slowly draw energy from her body. The items on the table began to gleam wildly, light orbs floating from them and dancing in the air above the table's surface. They began to weave back and forth with each other, almost as if the lights were dancing to a silent tune. The other demons stepped back as Diana moved her arms up and pointed to the dancing lights. Her fingers pointed into the air, leading the lights to follow where it directed obediently. She drew a large circle in the air, and the lights followed like a perfect trail, spreading out and forming a large void in the air. As they finally stopped moving, they burst into a bright light, causing the demons and I to cover our eyes from it. Ooh! It engulfed the room, but died down just as fast, revealing a small tear in the air. Diana quickly leaned forward and dug her hands into it before pulling the tear apart, revealing my bedroom! Yes! Diana continued to pull the tear open, giving enough space for me to jump through.
Hurry and go through! This is your chance!
I wasn't going to let it go to waste. Let's go! I gripped the bottom of my dress and rushed forward, using momentum to jump into the air and forward towards the void. I could almost reach it. I could feel the air conditioning of my room right at my fingertips. Come on, let's go! I was...
She will never leave this world alive!
Are you kidding me? No! The demon lord's voice rang through the air just as I saw my fingertips pass through the tear. What stopped the rest of my body was a red light and force, forcing me back and Diana back from the opening. Gah! I felt my body fly backwards and slam into the wall before I landed on the stone ground. I heard Diana as well land beside with a painful thud. I looked up and felt my heart break as the tear became wrapped in red lightning, zipping itself closed and vanishing into thin air. No, this could not be.
Damn it!
That should have worked. How could it have failed?
We must have missed something. Was there anything we had forgotten?
No, I verified everything myself.
Then why was the Demon Lord able to overpower a gate spell?
I highly doubt you know either, brute.
Stop fighting! We need to make a plan and all of you are just being stupid! Stupid, 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 stupid!
Oh my.
Are you all right, Isaiah?
I'm sad.
I'm fine.
I was too lost in my mind to fully understand what was going on around me. I was so close. I felt the other side. I had almost made it home. Why couldn't I go home? Diana's growth of pain next to me made me shoot my head towards her, and I watched her slowly push herself off of the ground and glare at the table.
The Demon Lord must have done something more than simply bring her here.
What could he have done?
Now, the Demon Lord is incapable of doing anything of the sort. His lackey imps must have done something to her.
A spell?
A curse.
I looked at the rabbit woman, seeing her stare wide-eyed at me. The other demons stared at me as well, and I suddenly felt like I was on display. Was something wrong with me?
She will not leave the demon world alive. He must have placed some sort of curse on her to prevent her from leaving this plane. In order to leave, she'd have to die.
No! I will not accept this! Accept this. I don't know if I'm saying it right. What? My mind went blank. Did the Demon Lord really curse me? Was I forced to stay in this world until I died? I could never go back?
Are you suggesting a barrier curse?
That would explain the red energy that sealed the tear.
But dark magic like that requires...
Blood of 1,000 demons. He must have sacrificed part of his army to cast a curse on her that would prevent her from leaving.
Now that's just cruel and wrong, and I am upset.
The Demon Lord is that desperate for her.
Ah!
The only way to break that kind of curse is to kill the caster, the Demon Lord himself.
Well,
She's trapped here until this war is over.
we're screwed. My body began to shiver violently. The Demon Lord killed 1,000 demons just to trap me here. Why? Why? I slammed my fists into the ground and began to scream. I want to go home! Why? I could feel the sympathy and anger in the room, but I didn't care. I was beyond livid. I was far past broken. I was seeing red. Ah! Ooh, what's that? As my voice ripped through the air, a bright light erupted through the room once again. Everyone covered their eyes, but Diana quickly scrambled to get on her knees and covered me with her body. She held me tightly as the light invaded the space and slowly began to fade. As the light finally died, everyone moved their hands to see what had happened. In the air was a white tear that was slowly opening, facing down towards the table. Something was coming. I could feel it in the air. The guard summoned his spear and pointed at the tear, glaring at it and gritting his teeth.
Something's coming!
In reply, Diana summoned what looked like the saber and placed it in front of us.
Ready yourselves! It could be the Demon Lord!
The other demons in the room readied themselves and stared at the tear, either holding a weapon or preparing a spell. I felt the air change, becoming heavier as the tear began to grow. The energy around it began to pulsate, making everyone in the room that much more tense. I stared at the tear as well, frightened as to what was coming. Was it the Demon Lord? His minions? My mind began to cycle through fearful ideas of what was about to appear. It's the guys! It's the guys! I know those voices anyway. My heart almost stopped. Falling from the chair and landing on the table were 5 incubi brothers. Yes! Yeah, I know their voices anywhere. They were piled on top of one another, having come through one at a time. However, as the last brother landed, the boys fell to one side, toppling off of the table and landing on the floor. The rebels around me stared at the fallen pile of incubi, confused and surprised as the tear in the air closed. The ogre man was the first to lower his sword.
What the hell?
Who are they?
Careful, they could be the Demon Lord's men.
No! The rebels looked at me as I stood up, Diana following and still protecting me, and I stared at the boys on the ground. They all looked dazed and a bit shell-shocked from having fallen twice in rapid succession. I almost couldn't believe it. There they were, right in front of me. And my mind couldn't help but remember how I had first met them. They had been on the floor of my mansion, unconscious and wounded. Now they were in front of me in the demon world. I know them. Oh, the guys! Eric looking fine as usual. James too. Damien. Yes, Damien. Damien is my soon-to-be husband in this. And then there's the cinnamon bun Matthew. He looks cool too. And then there's Sam. I'm not going to say anything before things happen. Okay. I stared at the ground. I stared at the one I was meant to marry, seeing him slowly shake his head and rise from the ground. They came to rescue me. He came to rescue me. My heart became overjoyed and full of warmth and happiness. I was going to go home. The question was, how? As the sight of the boys kept the demon's attention, a second tear opened above them, causing everyone to look up. 4 women dropped down from the tear and somehow managed to fall in the arms of the incubi behind Damien. 4 women? Could you please introduce me to these 4 women?
Wow!
Ooh.
I gotcha.
Ooh.
I gotcha. It's okay.
Eric!
Love, I've got you.
Hell nah. No. Okay, I'm on Damien's route. Let's just ignore this whole shit thing. Nah, but still, nah. Okay, you know what? I'm done.
James!
Whoa, are you all right?
Aw, she's cute. I stared wide-eyed. Their wives came too? Wives? What? I'm sorry, I need to focus on Damien right now. Just that, Eric being the number 1 husband of this game. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna stop. Let's focus on Damien. I watched as the boys and the girls finally planted themselves onto the ground. Before looking around, Damien's eyes locked onto me and he hurried towards me. Damien! I swerved around Diana and rushed to Damien, meeting him halfway and wrapping my arms around him tightly. Damien! Precious.
I'm so glad you're safe.
Aww. I took in his scent, his warmth. He was here in my arms, and I couldn't have asked for anything more. Damien seemed to feel the same as he wrapped his arms around my form and buried his face in my shoulder. Give him a squeeze! I tightened my hold on Damien, silently expressing my love and happiness at seeing and feeling him again. He squeezed back lovingly, peppering my neck with kisses. As Damien and I had our moment, his brothers stepped up near us, almost in a protective circle. Sam, however, moved towards Diana, glaring hard. Oh shit!
You've got 10 seconds to explain why she's here, bitch.
Oh shit!
I'm going to ignore that insult for the sake of the bride. However, I wasn't the one who brought her here.
You're such a terrible liar.
Oh, Matthew. I turned to see Matthew and Sam standing in front of me and Damien, ready to attack Diana. The succubus in question, however, seemed unfazed by their attempts at intimidation. While she is telling the truth, she was keeping me here safe. Guys.
Did she bring you here?
What? Turning my head back to Damien, I saw a serious look in his eyes. I had only seen that once before, when Diana had confronted me and showed me his past. I shook my head. No, she didn't bring me here. It was the Demon Lord.
I beg your pardon?
I love how he said that. I beg your pardon? I'm so sorry. I'm gonna stop. I just liked how he said that. I want to play it back, but I don't have the right mouse. Damn it. I liked hearing that.
Are you sure?
Damien, no. I know how much he hates his dad. So I'm just kind of like, I want to hug him. I stared at Damien, seeing something in his eyes ignite like an angry flame that was quickly growing. His hold on me tightened as he looked at Diana.
Why did he bring her here?
I looked over to Diana, knowing that she would explain, but I was surprised to see her flinch back at his expression. Was she scared? Shaking her head, Diana cleared her throat and looked back to Damien, settling back into her uncaring gaze.
He wanted to lure you all back, knowing that at least you, Damien, would chase after her, and the others would follow. Obviously, his plan worked.
This time, it was the boys who flinched in surprise, feeling the weight of her words. However, Damien gathered himself and spoke up again.
Well, thank you for keeping her safe. We'll be...
She can't leave.
And why not?
She's been cursed by the Demon Lord. She can't leave unless she dies or until we kill him.
You plan to kill him?
We're obviously not going to choose the former. We've been fighting the Demon Lord for 10 years now. Might as well have another reason to kill him.
My eyes looked to Damien, wondering what he was thinking. Diana then shrugged.
However, it will take some time to plan out our attack. We can't just walk into his castle and slit his throat.
That's true. Damien finally looked back to me, staring into my eyes as if he was trying to find some sort of response. I stared back, trying to find some hint as to what he was thinking about in his eyes. He slowly leaned forward and kissed my forehead before turning his head back to Diana.
How much time do you need?
1 week.
I shot my head towards Diana in surprise. Wow, I'm getting mixed between Damien and Diana. Wow. As did the rest of the occupants in the room. Seriously? 1 week?
Where is this number coming from, Succubus?
We need to fully prepare ourselves for the final stage, which I'm certain will only take a couple of days. We've pinned him into a corner. The Demon Lord will fall.
That's rather bold to assume.
She's right, though. We can prepare everything in that time frame, right?
And if he does the same and attacks us before then?
You've got a point there.
He won't.
I watched as Diana walked over and cleared the table of the materials they had gathered for the gate spell, revealing a physical map of the abyssal plains. She pointed to a spot on the map. A peninsula surrounded by water, labeled as the Decaying Sea.
We'll cast a barrier spell along the edge of the peninsula and around the castle. He and his army won't be able to move from that spot until we break it ourselves, which will be during the siege.
Where would we get the energy needed for that kind of spell?
We won't be using energy.
Oh my god. I see what you're trying to get at, Sano. You want to get more of that Diana booty. Hey, I'm rooting for you, boy. I'm rooting for you. The other rebel demons in the room suddenly tensed up, staring at Diana in surprise. What was she going to do?
My lady, you're not suggesting...
The Demon Lord has shown how far he is willing to go to win this war. It's only fitting to show the extent we'll go to in response.
As much as I agree with you, this seems a little rash.
What are you guys talking about?
Are they allowed to know?
I plan to put a barrier curse around the Demon Lord's castle and army. It's temporary, so it won't need the blood of 1,000 demons. But it will need the sacrifice of at least one demon life.
And I assume you'll be sacrificing one of my soldiers.
Is this our only option?
There are other options, but they will most likely take a lot of energy to pull off.
It just depends on what we want to do. If we want to do this immediately, then the barrier curse is indeed the best option.
I'm not opposed to performing the curse. As rash as it is, it will make our lives easier in the long run.
You expect me to hand over one of my men? My soldiers joined the rebellion to kill the Demon Lord, not to get their throats slit before even seeing the final battle?
It's wrong, but can we really afford to spend any more energy? Diana already spent a lot trying to send the human back.
What is the other option?
The rabbit woman and the fairy moved towards the map and pointed at the peninsula.
We could form tall rock walls around the castle. Box them in.
It will take a lot of our energy, but we can recover in that week period.
And what will stop the Demon Lord from tearing down the walls?
I can imbue the walls with holy magic.
Holy magic? What? The incubi and I looked at him, all of us equally surprised. A demon with holy magic? How? That's what I'd like to know.
How the fuck did you get holy magic? You look and smell like a demon.
Agreeing with Sam right here, to be honest. The guard held up his wrapped hand, letting the beads around it jangle with the sudden motion.
I've had the ability to use holy magic ever since I was taken in by my lady's family. There's no doubt that I am a demon, but I can't recall how I gained this ability.
I've played this before, and I can tell these are bullshit lies. Bullshit lies. And I will tell you why that's bullshit lies when we do James's route. I ain't saying shit until then. Alright then. How is holy magic different than demon magic?
It's white magic. Unlike demon magic, holy magic isn't so finicky. Think of it as warding or dispelling magic. You can't bless air or anything that doesn't have physical form, but you can bless objects to fight back against other forms of magic.
If the walls were blessed with holy magic, the Demon Lord wouldn't be able to escape until we released him.
Why not just trap him forever?
That's idiotic. He would still be a threat regardless. Holy magic doesn't last forever, and stone will crumble eventually.
He's right. We wouldn't be able to keep the walls up forever.
The situation became more and more complicated the more we discussed it. How are we going to go about this?
We can't just sit around and debate this forever. The longer we wait, the more we risk him striking back at us.
But is it worth killing someone to trap him?
When we finally strike, we will lose hundreds, if not thousands, of soldiers anyway. What difference will it make to lose one more life on top of this?
He kind of does have a point, even though it's kind of harsh.
Soulless fuck.
Well, he is an assassin, and he makes such a lot of sarcastic remarks, I'm sure. Anyways.
We can still cage him in.
I bit my lip. It was a really tough decision. A curse or a trap? Which was better? Both had their prices, but we had to choose one. From the look of it, no one wanted to speak up, so I felt the urge to say something. Maybe I would be the one who would determine everything. But which method would be the best choice? I'd say that I don't want to, I don't mind killing one other person, but I feel like we should be a little being a little thoughtful. I would say the trap, really, because, no, it's not that harsh. Everyone in the room looked at me as I finally spoke up. We needed to be better than the Demon Lord. He was willing to sacrifice lives to trap me here, but it only showed how desperate he was to win and how little he valued life. He would lose this war one way or another. It wasn't worth losing someone who could help turn the tide of the war. When can you put a barrier up?
We can leave after this, meeting is over.
Are you sure this is the best choice?
Yes, Eric, this is the best choice. I love you and shut up. Agree with me. The curse isn't the only option. We need to show that we're better than him. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking too. Just couldn't put it into words. Well, I could have, but my mind scrambled and stuff. Okay. Everyone nodded, some in reluctance while the others did with confidence. I looked at Diana just in time to catch a twitch from her visible eye, but she shook her head and looked to the rabbit woman.
Are you quite positive this will work?
I am very certain. Since it will be just 3 of us going, we can shadow travel there and be back by the morning.
Diana looked at her guard and nodded.
Very well. If you believe it will work, then I trust you will make sure it does.
As the guard nodded and slightly bowed, the other demons seemed to let out a sigh of relief. Were they worried about performing the curse? Diana shook her head before crossing her arms and looking directly at me.
So, since you'll be here for a while, we might as well give you names that you can use to refer to everyone here.
Ooh, that's nice.
Are we getting human names?
She sounds so wow, I'm saying she. I don't even know their gender. Wow. Okay, I meant to say the fairy is excited about getting human names. That seems present.
Must we?
Oh man, come on. I want to know your human name at least. Diana rolled her eyes and gestured to each demon, naming them on the fly.
For the sake of time, we'll use simple names. This is Rabbit, our magic advisor. Sergeant, commander of our armies. Shadow, leader of our assassins. And Faye, our nomadic forest ambassador.
Forest ambassador. Oh, okay. So Rabbit, of course, we all know who Rabbit will be. Rabbit with the rabbit ears, that girl. Sergeant, commander of our... That seems like to be the brute demon. Big red brute demon. Shadow, leader of our assassins. Assassins. Well, since the brute sergeant mentioned the guy being an assassin, keep testing the assassin or something. So I'm guessing he's Shadow, which is a really cool name for him. It fits. And Faye. We can already know who Faye is. And I like them already.
Sergeant, I'm a commander, succubus. Shouldn't my name be Commander?
It's easier on the tongue, though, to say sergeant.
Yeah, it's true.
My lady, what shall they call me?
Sarah... Wow. Diana looked at Zero for a moment before turning towards me, a look of seriousness emanating from her eyes.
You may call him Zero. He is my personal guard, and he is always by my side.
Yeah, I get to call him Zero. The other demons and Zero seemed to be surprised. Was Zero his true demon name? Why would she give me his true name?
Are you sure?
Call him only if your life depends on it. Do not abuse this permission.
I shall not. Her eyes seemed to burn as she gazed into mine, full of hard intent and warning. I mentally noted her seriousness as she ran a hand through her hair.
Well, now that we have a plan and introductions are out of the way, I believe we can end this meeting. We have a lot to accomplish in 1 week.
What about us? You don't expect us to sit around.
Actually, I do. You all don't belong on the battlefield.
Say what now?
Excuse me? Just hold on
I will not take untrained and unarmed beings into a war zone.
Hey, at least she's... At least... Damn it. I forgot it. It was Irene. Yeah, her name's Irene. It was also Eric's wife. I'm watching you, Irene. Anyways, yeah, I agree with her. I want to be in this fight. Hold on! I interjected, stepping forward and crossing my arms at Diana. She seriously wasn't going to make us stay back while she fought the Demon Lord, was she? That's not fair. Is this really what we should do? We can fight too. We know Taekwondo. I'm not sure how that will help us in this war, but we know Taekwondo. That's not fair, Diana. It wasn't fair at all. I was stuck here, so it should be my choice of whether or not to fight.
I'm only trying to make sure you all get back to the human world safely. I can't expect you all to fight in this war.
Let me and my brothers train then. We're demons, for fuck's sake. We know how to fight.
Yeah, you do. The boy stared at Diana as she turned her head towards Sam. He was right, though. They knew how to train, so they knew how to fight. If they fought with the rebellion, there would be a better chance of winning this war.
You all realize this is a war, correct? You can die here.
We understand completely.
We know what the risks are.
Her name is Iridessa. Oh, that's such a cute name, Iridessa. Diana could only stare at our group as we challenged her proclamation. I wrapped my hand around my fiancé's arm, frightened at the idea of participating in a war, but knowing that we needed all the strength we could muster to finish off the Demon Lord. This was the only way I could go home. Defeated, Diana sighed and rubbed her temples.
Very well. I can't exactly keep you here like prisoners, so it will be up to you if you choose to train for battle. However, I highly suggest just staying here and allowing us to handle it.
Nah. I nodded as did the others. This was really happening. We were going to kill the Demon Lord, and we had 1 week to either prepare for war or wait it out. Diana turned towards me and looked down at my outfit. I had nearly forgotten that I was still in my wedding dress until Diana pointed at my chest. I forgot that too.
Lumen infere, velum tebescere, serene.
I stared at her, unsure why she was speaking in Latin, until I felt the fabric around my body shift and change. I quickly looked down to see my wedding dress morph into an outfit that looked perfect for the demon world. The white top shifted into a long-sleeved, oversized tunic with a leather corset and vest, while the bottom of the gown split and wrapped around my legs, forming into dark leggings. My shoes stretched into long, knee-high boots. That would be cool to draw out, actually.
Hey, you look really nice. Good choice.
Thank you, Carrie. Carrie is her name. I'm assuming she's Sam's wife. Is she? Yes, she's Sam's wife. Ah, man. She looks really cool, though. I blushed, getting used to the feel of the outfit. The corset wasn't tight, but it was still something new along with the rest of the garb. Damien smiled and wrapped an arm around my shoulder, hugging me to him.
You look really nice.
Oh, thank you, Damien. Thank you.
Faye, Rabbit, you both should finish your preparations and head over to the Demon Lord's castle for the spell.
How are you going to get there?
I'll get us there, no problem.
Just make sure we don't get stuck there or lost.
No promises.
Oh, man.
Zero, make sure the job is done.
I shall, my lady.
Sato, Faye, and Rabbit began to make their way out of the room as Diana turned to me and my group. As they left, Diana let out a small sigh.
I will take you to some rooms you may rest in.
Thank you, Diana. Diana merely nodded and led our group out of the room towards our new temporary rooms. Okay, you know what? I'm going to end this here. I didn't expect her to be running so long. Damn. Alright then. Well, thank you guys for watching this. Let's hopefully stick until the bitter end for Damien, because we're now stuck here. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like to see more of my videos, then click subscribe. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!